Are you ready to unlock the mysteries of our planet's amazing waters? Join our scientists on their quest to understand, protect, and keep our oceans and other vital water bodies healthy. Discover how they work on research vessels, take measurements, run experiments, build computer models, and use satellites to observe water around the globe. So, let's dive in and start exploring.
Hi everyone, I'm so glad you're joining me again today. My name's Amy and I work at Plymouth Marine Laboratory in England. We're a charity that does really important science to help look after our ocean, rivers and lakes. A little while ago, I went to visit some children at primary school in England and they asked some fantastic questions about climate change and how it impacts animals in our ocean. So let's go speak to some amazing scientists here at Plymouth Marine Laboratory to find out the answers.
Hello, my name is Benji, I'm 11 years old and I'm wondering, does the temperatures of the sea affect the migrations of animals?
Well, it's a complex thing, but think about it this way. Migration is going from point A to point B, and think about how when you're going from home to school and you have your favorite place to stop at for a snack. For some reason, which we will say it's too hot for this place to be there and they had to move, you can change your route, but your favorite snack place is not there anymore. So you are being impacted and you are extra hungry when you reach your destination. And that's something that could happen to the animals because things have changed because of the temperature and they don't get their favorite snacks.
Hello, my name's Samson and I am 9 years old. I've been wondering, do rising sea temperatures affect the dramatic increase in tuna on our coast?
For the coast of the UK, the answer is yes. So the map behind me is not about tuna itself, it's about different fish, most of them like colder water. But the redder temperature colors of the dots shows that their abundance is decreasing, so there is less of them. But then tuna likes warmer temperature, meaning that they are going to move in along our coast to take advantage and follow their preferred temperature. So we might have more tuna, but we will have less sardines, for example.
Hello, my name's Verity and I'm 7 years old and I want to know what will happen to the animals. I'm worried about if they will die.
I'm Toby, I'm 7, and how can we stop ocean creatures from dying because of climate change, like how some of them just move areas because they can't survive in there because they've got warmer waters, and some animals need colder waters than others.
Thank you so much for that question. So first up, we can't stop the mobile species from moving because they want to be in the areas of the sea that will give them the best chance of survival. If they can't find these conditions, then there is unfortunately a chance that they will die. But what we can do is take care of our waters and our climate to try and maintain as many of these ideal habitats and the areas as possible to encourage these more mobile species to stay where they're native to, but also to support the species that aren't able to move as freely, such as shellfish and corals. Ocean warming that you've given is a great example of a symptom of climate change, and it occurs as a result of too many greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, which comes from energy consumption. So one way in which we can support marine species at risk from warmer waters is by reducing the amount of energy we use. This can be from acts as small as turning the lights and electrical items off when you leave a room, buying some secondhand clothing and gadgets, and looking out for anything that was made to be carbon neutral or even better, carbon negative. If you're able to, choosing to walk and cycle or to take public transport instead of cars to get about your day-to-day life can really help also. So climate change on a whole can be eased by making such changes, but marine species are impacted not only by changing climate, but also by human activities such as deep sea mining, fishing and shipping. So in order to maintain areas for creatures to survive and thrive, we need to be checking that the things we eat and the things we buy are being sourced sustainably, which should be indicated on packaging here in the UK.
Hello, I am Connie and I am 7 years old and I want to know about the jellyfish that's in the River Tamar. Are they rising because of the water temperatures?
Well, Connie, that's an interesting question. Jellyfish are commonly found in the waters around Plymouth in England and the estuarine coastline, and that does include the Tamar estuary. And yes, there are more jellyfish due to warming waters because jellyfish reproduce much more quickly when the waters are warmer. And recently we've been seeing marine heat waves, and due to rising sea temperatures, these provide the warmer conditions that enable the jellyfish to grow into quite large numbers, and that's why we see blooms. Estuaries are quite tricky environments for jellyfish because they have a range of salinities and there's also fast-flowing water. So you're more likely to see more jellyfish at the mouth of an estuary rather than further upstream. And interestingly, in the Tamar estuary, there are jellyfish nursery grounds just off Salt Ash in a rocky channel. So that could be why we see lots of the common jellyfish, Aurelia aurita, which is the moon jellyfish, in the Tamar estuary. So thanks for your question. That was great.
My name's Thomas and I'm 7, and if I were to ask a scientist any question, it would be how would climate change affect the giant isopods in the sea?
Amazing question, Thomas. Giant isopods are marine animals called crustaceans, animals with hard shells like crabs and shrimp. They live deep in the ocean and look like giant wood lice. Climate change can affect them in different ways. Ocean acidification can weaken their shells. Warmer waters can slow their growth and make it harder for them to have offspring. Some isopods can handle these changes better than others.
Hello, my name is Hal. I'm 7 years old. And what can we do to help bioluminescent creatures?
Hi Hal, thanks for your question. Bioluminescent creatures can be anything from tiny plankton to large lanternfish. One of the things we can do to help them is to think about artificial light at night. Some bioluminescent creatures use darkness to hunt, and something we can do to help them is to turn off lights such as bedroom lights and other household lights. We can also support schemes to reduce street lights in coastal areas. By using less lights, we also reduce our carbon footprint and therefore our impact on climate change.
Hello, my name is Tommy and I'm 9 years old, and I was wondering what can we do to protect endangered species?
Hi Tommy, thank you so much for this question. I absolutely love it because a lot of the things that we can do to protect endangered species also help to combat climate change and to support resilient habitats and species populations as a whole. So us scientists will try to work out why a species is endangered. Is it because it's being overfished, or because it's lost its habitat? Is it struggling with a changing sea temperature, or a combination of things? Scientists will try to tag and to track the movement of species and then carry out surveys to understand which species are in which areas and how their numbers have changed over the years. In cases where we get a deceased specimen, we'll run autopsies to identify what caused the death. It's especially important for a scientist to know the age of the species in a population to work out if they're making it to a reproductive age or not, or to identify a life stage where maybe they're being especially threatened. So a good example of a species scientists are working to protect is the critically endangered hawksbill turtle. This species is being impacted at multiple stages in its life, from being caught up in fishing gear, being unable to safely lay eggs and feed due to habitat loss, and by being physically harmed by marine litter. So to protect this species, there are quite a few steps to take, which require scientists to work with the general public, politicians, and fishermen to get the job done. I know we don't have the turtles here in the UK, but there's still plenty you could do to help them from your own home. So once your litter gets into the sea, it can go anywhere. So you can really help the turtles at home by putting all of your rubbish safely in bins and recycle as much as possible to reduce the amount of litter that gets into the sea. I would say, however, that the best way to protect an endangered species is to stop it from becoming endangered in the first place, which means thinking about how all of our actions and activities can impact the species in the seas, not just when it's threatened, but always. Thank you.
It sounds like many ocean animals are finding life harder because of climate change and pollution. But here's the good news. Scientists all around the world, including right here in Plymouth, are working hard to understand these problems and find solutions. And the more we learn about the ocean, the more we can all help protect it. I hope that answered some of your questions. Remember, the best scientists are always the most curious, so you are all well on your way to becoming ocean protectors.